Well, leading us to the cross, that's the theme of Lent. It's this time as we walk towards the cross. We go through the experience of anticipation again, like Jesus coming, but we're anticipating him going to the cross. We're anticipating him sacrificing himself, and we're anticipating then Easter, the life that's going to come. And so here we are on the first day of that journey, on the first day of Lent. As I mentioned on Sunday, this is something that's meant to be beautiful. I think that's what we need to keep in focus first and foremost. It's meant to be beautiful. It's meant to be experiential. It's meant to be a precious time to reconnect with these ideas that can get lost through the rest of our year. But nothing we do in Lent earns us brownie points. Nothing we do in Lent is something that the church police are watching. They're not watching to see if we're good and if we're doing the right things and earning something. We do these things to enrich our lives. We do these things to refresh our faith. God can certainly meet us in special ways in this time, but it isn't because we earned anything from him. It isn't because this earns us something that we didn't otherwise have from him. Rather, what can happen is that at any time, God can meet us in a special way when we make space for him. And this Lent is one of those places where we make space for him. We liberate ourselves from something during this time. And when we liberate ourselves from one thing, it leaves space for something else to come. And so God can come in many different ways in Lent to us. But again, it's not something that we're trying to earn something from him, or we're even trying to say, God, look how good I'm doing. We looked at the people in Isaiah and how they were trying to do that. They were trying to say, God, look how miserable I'm making myself. Have I not earned what I want from you? And God's like, you think this is really how I do things? That's not what this means. There's something beautiful that captures our imagination and pulls us into an experience with God. So here we are on day one, going down this experience that for me it's been personally enriching to track Lent each year. And it's just something that I've done privately. Not many churches in the evangelical world do this. And so it's been something that I've enjoyed myself. And it's also communally enriching, I believe, because we know others are doing the same thing within our community for these 40 days of Lent. And it's an adventure that goes beyond just an experience, because we can't anticipate what Lent will bring us every year. One year, it might simply be this gentle annual reminder of anticipating Easter. Another year, it could be an exciting change as God meets us. We don't know. So it's this adventure that we're on. But here we are. And some may have chosen to fast something out of their lives during Lent and to liberate themselves from that. And in doing so, again, they make a space in their life for God to possibly work as he sees fit. So some might be fasting something out of their life. Others might be embracing the active fast that we looked at in Isaiah. The active fast of looking to help liberate others that they see, especially for these 40 days. I want to pay attention to who needs liberated in these 40 days. So that's the overall theme of Lent. But Ash Wednesday, it dials in our focus to two things. Those two things are our sins, where we've failed to live as designed, and our mortality. It's our mortality where we ultimately fail to even be able to control our own lives truly. We can't stop our life from ending. So in other words, in bringing us to focus on our sin and our mortality, Ash Wednesday, it really brings us face to face with our humanity and the reality of our limitation. I can't do everything right. And in the end, I can't even save myself. This is summed up in the Ash Wednesday passage from Genesis 3:19. Remember that you are dust, and to dust you will return. I personally have some Kevlar stitches that hold one ankle together. I've got some metal anchors in my hip and my shoulders, and so those things are going to be around for a bit longer than I am. But ultimately, the physical me is going to turn to dust. It's a humbling passage for those out there trying to look like they don't, trying to look like they have the human condition beaten, or they're able to stall it. Those who try to look like they have it all together, those trying to give their life the best possible appearance to everybody else, holding up the facades that they've put up. Those trying to do everything they can to artificially look like they're not aging. Still moving closer to death, though. For those people trying to not look as human as the rest of us, trying to put up facades of perfection and images of ceasing to age, for all those people and everyone else, this passage reminds us that we're ultimately all the same. And our time on earth will end the same way for everybody. It will end with me knowing the places I've failed, no matter the appearance I've tried to give to others. And it will end with me turning to dust in the grave, along with everyone else. Towards symbolizing our recognition of this reality of our humanity, it's customary on Ash Wednesday to have someone place ashes upon you in the shape of a cross. Many of you have probably seen this in the other years. People have ashes on their forehead. It can also often be placed on the back of the hand. And this is one more chance to have our physical experience in life sync up with spiritual, emotional feelings. It's a chance to live out the experience of our spirituality. The ashes are physical things that point to the focus of my humanity. The ashes on Ash Wednesday give a twofold meaning. First, ashes, they're an ancient symbol of mourning. Ashes come as a result of desolation and ruin. They come out of something being destroyed. And when people were impacted by something that was spiritually or emotionally destructive, in the ancient world, they would take ash and put it upon themselves so their outside would reflect what was inside. Internally, they said, devastation's come upon me. So they would take the physical symbol of devastation and put it upon themselves. Sometimes the feelings are a result of something that happened outside the person. It could be the loss of a loved one. It could be the destruction of a town that one was connected to. Anything that someone was mourning, it could be associated with something outside of the person. Grieving family members would cover themselves in ash to reflect how they felt inside. But other times, people were impacted by the realization of their own ruinous action that had impacted themselves and others. In Jonah chapter 3, verses 5 through 7, Jonah tells the people of Nineveh how bad they've been. And the response is, you're right. We've been so bad. We've done such horrible, ruinous things. And they realize the pain of the things that they've done. And they spread ash upon themselves to reflect externally what they've come to realize internally, what they've done. The ashes of Ash Wednesday are like the second ashes. Ash Wednesday is a time for me to pause and acknowledge my failures. Failures that to this day cause me pain. I acknowledge failures where I've acted destructively with my actions, or even simply with a word. Using a word that might bring a little death to someone. And to take ashes upon myself on Ash Wednesday is to make an external statement that I realize I've done wrong and I'm sorry for it. I've come to a realization of what I did. And the external can reflect that realization I've come to and my remorse for it. Second, the ashes are a reflection of the dust to which we'll return. I've personally come to sum up this second idea of the ashes in this way. The dust to which we're going to return is the great equalizer. It ultimately makes us all equal. And to take the ashes as a symbol of the dust to which I'm going to return, and everyone else will return. I'm number one, demonstrating my desire to humbly accept my human state. To not live in denial or deception about who I am and what I am. And taking the ash in this sense is the sign that I want to work on being humble. Secondly, taking the ash upon myself is making an external statement to the equality of all of God's imagers, humanity. I'm saying by taking the ash upon myself, no matter where you or I may disagree, we're both equally human, as proven by the fact that both of us will return to dust. Our ends will be the same here on earth. So there you have the focus of Ash Wednesday, a day to come face to face with our humanity, and an opportunity to wear, for even a little while, a sign upon myself, for even others to see, a sign of my heart. It's a sign that mourns for my shortcomings and the damage they do. And it's a sign of a heart that wants to remain humble, knowing where it will return. And I will go nowhere differently on this earth than everyone else. And there's an equality in that makes me no better than someone else. The beautiful thing about Ash Wednesday is that the ash, the sign of my human limitations, is placed upon myself as a cross. Because it's there on a cross that my human limitations, reflected in it, it's on the cross that they're met by the divine to do what I can't. This is the beauty to me of Ash Wednesday. Can you reflect externally something that is so powerful to me internally? Wrapped up in the sign of where the ash of humanity meets the cross of Jesus.